Okay, hello. Today we're going to be doing a sort of like a different type of video. This is going to be a short form, I guess, retrospective on my 7-2 tournament run at Chile on the like 2 weekends ago. I chose to play Rayleigh. It was an OP12 tournament before PRV02 came out. Honestly, I loved playing Rayleigh. I didn't really make a video about him, mostly because the meta was over after I went to Chile because of the new cards releasing. But it was a really fun deck to play around with. I thought it really went well with my playstyle. Unfortunately, I chose Rayleigh mostly because I wasn't confident in my ability to play Smoker through a 9 round tournament with facing a single Rayleigh. I think the matchup Smoker versus Rayleigh and OP12 before the new Kobe came out would be unplayable, and my testing unfortunately proved me right. I don't think I lost. I dropped a single game on Rayleigh against Smoker on ladder. So yeah, I chose to play Rayleigh. Unfortunately, I faced no mirror matches. This is the list I chose to run. We're going to be going a little bit in depth on the run I had. Not because I thought it was amazing or anything. I honestly expected to do better, but 72 is decent enough. This is just sort of a way to for me to memorize what I played against and things like that. Also to give an update to the channel. I haven't really been making videos because I was testing for the tournament. So this is the list I chose to run. Obviously, very standard. There's little variation on what Rayleigh runs in lists, generally speaking. Just as a highlight, I guess, I chose to go for the 2-2 split for the 2 drops between the 2K counter Sanji and the Monkey D. Luffy. Honestly, 2 drop Luffy is an abysmal card. It's not good at all, but it's another hit for Shaki, whatever the hell she's called. Boa also searches Luffy. Same thing goes for Nami, but obviously Nami also searches Sanji. I think pretty much Sanji is honestly always better, except in the mirror when compared to Luffy. But Luffy's just sort of works kind of like a failsafe in case you need to search and you don't have your forecast Luffy in hand. It lets Boa and Shaki find both parts of the combo, if you may. So if you don't have Sanji in hand, you're less pressured to like if you have 2 Shakis in hand, you might as well just play 2 of them just to try and find the 4 drop Luffy. And sometimes you find the 2 drop Luffy and it's fine as well. Um, in terms of events, which is the other, I mean, let's talk about the rushers first. I chose to run 4 Zoro. I guess the more standard type of rusher setup is 2 Zoro, 2 Kid Killer. I honestly think Kid Killer is an amazing card. Obviously a stronger card than Zoro is just face value, but Zoro is just findable by Nami, and Nami is the best searcher in the deck, even though she might not seem like it. She finds Luffy, she finds Sanji as well, very important. That pretty much just makes her the best searcher in the deck. And she also finds your rushers, which in some matchups are invaluable. So you really want to be able to play Nami confidently, knowing that you're not going to break on her, because you never want to be forced to hold Nami in hand, just for fear of missing on the search. And 4 Zoro lines up the list at a solid 20 Straw Hat hits, which is what I was going for. Additionally, Zoro, just because he costs 3, he's obviously better in the early game if you have to drop him, but he allows for some very aggressive plays into some matchups like Green Purple Luffy, the Zoro, like the Green Zoro matchup, which is obviously favored anyways, but I mean, you don't always find your searchers early. So it's not like Zoro is just a worse version of Kid Killer. He's a less strong card, but he's still insanely good in this deck. So I chose the consistency route with the rushers. I honestly don't regret it. I think this list is pretty much perfect. I wouldn't change anything of it. Then for the events, most lists run 4 Straw Hat events. I chose to run 3 Mulligan, 1 Radical Beam. I honestly think King Kong Gun, or whatever it's called, is sort of like a bait card. It's only good into Snake Man Luffy. I mean, sometimes you can use it. Obviously, it's good at closing out games, but it does nothing in the mirror unless they check it as a trigger, which is obviously just bad. And generally speaking, you're not going to win unless you're playing against Snake Malufy specifically. You're not going to win. It's a rule of thumb games where you need to use your armor and hacky to push your game. Um, so I mean, Armament Hacky is a good card because it's a 2K counter that can allow you to cheese a game every once in a while. But King Kong Gatling is just a useless card, in my opinion, obviously. Doesn't really fit my playstyle, so I chose to cut it in favor of the less standard Radical Beam, which is amazing in the mirror, and it allows Nami to find. I mean, obviously, Nami cannot find Conqueror's Haki, so it allows Nami to find a very high, very good, like, investment defensive card. Honestly, Radical Beam comes up a lot more than you would imagine. So if you're trying to play Rayleigh in OP12.5 or PRB2 or whatever you want to call the meta, I honestly encourage you to try this list. It works just as well. Obviously, Rayleigh is comparatively less strong because a lot of decks got some new tools, but Rayleigh is still, in my opinion, a solid like S tier deck. So feel free to try it out. Also, I just run 3 Mulligan. Mulligan is just an insane card. I really don't think you need 4 because you have, how many is it? You have like the 4 Buggies, the 4 Shakis, 4 Boa, and 4 Observation Haki. All of those cards, also for Nami, sorry. So it's like 4, 8, 12, 16. You have 20 searchers for Mulligan in the deck. And I mean, Mulligan is just, it's the best card into Green Purple Luffy. It's the best card in the deck into Bonnie, which is a bad matchup for you. So it's also very decently good in the mirror. It's not a bad card into Snake Luffy, which is, in my opinion, the strongest deck in the meta right now. So you know, it's just a versatile card. It sometimes feels a little bit bricky if you're forced to grab a Mulligan in a matchup where you already have one in hand and you play Nami and you grab it. So maybe you could run like 2 Radical Beams, 2 Mulligans. I would never run the Straw Hat event, the Searcher. I think it's just like straight up a bad card. So, I mean, that's my reasoning for the Straw Hat events. And then we have the Rayleigh events. I maxed out on Conqueror's Haki because it's the best card in the deck. Arguably the best card in the game, maybe, but definitely the best card in this deck, for sure. I maxed out on Observation Haki, mostly because the way you lose as Rayleigh in a lot of the bad matchups, like Sol NL or NL where they play like the Arc Maxim, things like that, Bonnie, is because you get bricked out. Like you break on your break is a strong word maybe, but you don't find your Luffy's, you don't find your Sanjis, you don't find your Zoros, and then you lose because your hand is filled with events that do nothing if you're not winning. Um, so Observation Haki is sort of like it's not a great card. It's definitely not bad. It just cycles for free if you were going to put it down on your leader anyways. So might as well max out on it. It's definitely a good card. Nothing crazy to write home about. Probably the weakest searcher in the deck, but it's good enough. Also, and this is important, it allows Shaki and Boa to find something that's, if you break on the 4-cost Luffy and you don't want to take the 2-cost Luffy, it lets them sort of like get a search into search to try and find Sanji or Luffy, and that is very relevant a lot of the time. Also, it's a second searcher for the 3-cost Sanji, but I mean, that's just splitting hairs. The card is fine enough. I would always run 4 of these, mostly because it makes the deck work better, not because the card is good on its own. And then I chose to run a 3-3 split on the bad events. I'm going to use that in huge air quotes here. I was honestly running 4 of the Unblockable event at first and 2 Armament Haki, because Armament Haki I think is just at face value a worse card. But it is good against Blue Purple Luffy, where swinging for 16k instead of 15 means they have to waste an extra card. Because if you swing 15, what ends up happening is you swing 15 at the Blue Purple Luffy, they giant, they go to 10, they giant again, or they Bawa or whatever. Devil Giant obviously turns the leader effect off, but they Bawa, and then they drop a 2k, and you only traded your 15k swing, which is your entire turn, for what is it, like 2 cards, and if you swing 16, you get another card off of that. And honestly, the way you beat Snake Man Luffy a lot of the times is just you go they maybe pass with like 4 down up, and the extra 1k swing actually does matter in that matchup specifically. So if you're having trouble with the matchup, you might as well you maybe run like a King Kong Gatling. Like I said, I wouldn't, because I think King Kong Gatling is a bad card generally speaking, and I wouldn't run it specifically for the matchup. But Armament Haki is a 2k in every other matchup, which is honestly good enough. Like a 2k that's also an event in this deck is just insane. Also has the upside of sometimes cheesing Blue Purple Luffy, which is obviously great. And the unblockable card is just obviously the reason the card is good is because it works as an alternative game plan. Like if you're just getting stalled out or you're losing the resource battle, specifically against decks like Teach, well, mostly Teach, but Teach, Bonnie, all these decks that can just outrun you out of resources. Not only essentially when you're playing as Rayleigh, just because this card exists, you cannot rely on blockers to cheese out a win. So you might as well run a couple of them. Obviously a very strong card, but also if you run more than 2, you can essentially consistently find them in the matchups where you're going to need to finish the game over 2 turns. And then when you set them, you set your opponent's leader at 1 life, you just, I'm going to call this Diable Jambe. So just Diable Jambe, swing 15, you don't die because you're Rayleigh, you're probably at like 3 life or whatever, and then you use the event again and you win the game. So it's good to run more than 2, I would say, just to be able to find multiples of it in games where you're going to need it. I was running 4, like I said, pretty much just to always have it in hand. But I chose to go for the 3-3 split once I was a little bit more scared of the amount of Snake Man Luffy that I was seeing on ladder. And then these was my my tournament run. I lost my first game into Teach. The matchups where the dice are the matchups where I won the die roll. So I lost my first matchup into Teach. I got nervous, honestly, so that one's on me. This game was definitely winnable. I played a little bit too slow. So this one's entirely on me. I got nervous, checked the trigger, and essentially started playing less aggressive than I should have. And the extra body that I didn't have really ended up mattering over the course of the game. So I lost. And then second game, I went into Snake Man Luffy. I lose a die roll. They let me go second for whatever reason. You definitely want to go second against Snake Man Luffy, as you can see from the rest of my tournament run. But unfortunately, like they triple ramped into me. I saw no 4-cross Luffy's, and I got essentially absolutely crushed. So I was very down in terms of morale at this point. But luckily, we were able to pull off a 72 win. Honestly, most of the rest of the matchups were pretty easy. The Sorrow game was kind of rough. I got saved by like a lucky mulligan trigger. I got they played like the old man, like Sorrow's teacher, on me. They killed a boa and a buggy using that, and that was kind of like a rough start. But a lucky mulligan trigger saved me, honestly. And then pretty much literally the entire rest of the run, I was honestly drawing insane. Pretty much the deck carried me throughout the entirety of the rest of the tournament. I played like double Luffy Sanji on every single one of the games. And also the NL I was facing was running like an aggressive, like one of those aggressive NLs. So I mean, obviously stall NL, like full stall NL with the 4-cost Kuzan and the Sapbirds is pretty much unwinnable. But I'm honestly convinced that if you're playing like the more aggressive version of NL, unless they play like the Arc on turn 1, you're honestly very favored into it. Like I feel very confident in that matchup. So yeah, that was essentially my tournament run. Like I said, this is more than anything for like preservation purposes, so that I sort of like something to remember my tournament run by. It was not a disaster. It was pretty decent. And I also met one of the viewers, which was honestly the highlight of the tournament for me. So, anyways, I'll see you around in the channel. Hope you enjoyed this. And if you have any questions on how to play Rayleigh, I'm trying to play Smoker right now because it's BRBO2 meta. But if you have any questions on Rayleigh, I'll probably be able to help, I guess. So feel free to drop them down in the comments. Also, please subscribe if you see this video, and if you enjoyed it, obviously, it really helped me out. So yeah, thank you.